Hello, friends and neighbors. I am your resident crazy hippie hermit down here in Southwest Georgia. I'm David Null. I greet you with blessings, honor, compassion, and all the healing from the great Creator to each one of you, to all of your family, and everyone and all that we know across the planet. So I send blessings and greetings every time, and I mean it from my soul heart and my heart soul to all of you, to all beings, because we're all in this together. Now, I've done a couple of earlier videos, and last night's video really astounded me in many ways, in that there was an orb that traveled across the screen in real time, and it showed up a couple of times. And in the last video that I just got done doing, it shows me I've watched myself freaking out and the surprise on my face, and I've literally been laughing for an hour because it's hard for me to understand how something like that could literally go live. And what are the implications of that? I mean, I've shown it to a couple other people. A friend of mine who I call the Wood Elf showed up tonight. I thought of him earlier, and then he did show up, and I was like, "What that?" I I wasn't expecting him, but in a way, I surely wasn't surprised when he showed up. But anyway, so it's like all kinds of synchronicities go on with me all the time. And I mention these, and I want to make sure up front, it's not about me being a narcissist about this is all about Dave, because that's all I refer to myself a lot. Well, but I do that only as an example. I don't have I'm not supposed to talk about other people. Now I do mention other people and experiences and so forth, but the thing is that I'm relating it not to make me important or feel important, because I'm not about that. In fact, I get kicked in the butt like right now to do a live video when I wasn't scheduled to or in the mood or however you want to put it. But I'm here now because I'm asked by others, these other beings to discuss this. And it's like, okay, fine, I'm good with that. So I don't really have an agenda. The agenda is very basic for me, that all human beings understand this simple core value, and that we are all made of energy. And watching an orb go across the screen during a live video stream, and then being able to go back and capture it and replay it and do another video with it and watch myself and my and my goofy face, you know, uh, seeing my reaction and watching it and observing and looking at the orb and all of this other stuff is kind of overwhelming in a large way. Now, I know these things exist. I've known these things exist for a long time. I know they exist around me. I know there are spirits here. There are many people who've come to my place over the years, I've discussed it, who've seen two particular entities. And the people who've been here and saw these ghosts, which they are in that term, these entities, and that these people have never met each other, don't know each other, never spoke before, but they all see the same thing with the same um, degree of accuracy, to where it's very hard for me as an observer of events to say these people are nuts. So do I know there are ghosts in my yard, in my backyard? Do I know there are spirits that roam between these two cemeteries I've discussed where I live? Do I know? Yes. Other people have seen them, and not people who are high, but people who are very sensitive, you know, mediums, if you will, and empathic beings, just a little higher tuned human beings. Nothing special about any of these people. They're just folk, but they saw these apparitions, and were able to describe them in such a way that it's impossible to discount. So I know these things exist here on my property, near me, around me, but to actually watch one go across the screen in real time, hmm. And what are the topics of my discussion? What do I discuss on a regular basis? the etheric idea of us, the fact that we are spirit beings, the fact that, that re- that's part of the remembering for so many of us is that we are true spirits. Souls, however you want to go at it. And if you want to bring the Bible into it, you just keep this in mind. The Bible simply states we are made in the image and likeness of God. And so, what do most of us, in the spiritual realm at least, what do most of us believe? Well, God, in a sense, is a construct, but creator, the creator God, that high being that knows all, sees all, that is the source and all that good stuff, that it does exist. And if we are made in the image and likeness of that, not this human bag that we are, then we are still these spiritual beings. We're made in the image and likeness of the creator. We are spirit beings. So what does the orb have to do with this? That was a spirit being. That could have been a whole family of spirit beings that went by on the screen, live and in color. And I'm like, watch the video if you haven't. But to the point, it's like, well, wait a minute. I understand these things. They've allowed me to take pictures of them. I've done videos about it. And I'm very humbled. I gotta say, I'm very humbled by the whole experience because I'm understanding through my meditation today and having some downloads and conversation and so forth about this particular topic. Why would they be here now? Why would these spirit beings allow themselves to be videotaped more than once? I might add you, and on different videos, and I'm going to update that as I get back to the other videos, and I'm going to do a little compilation kind of thing, I guess, if you will, and because I want to analyze whether or not it was the same orb that traveled from one day to the next day. And there was also in the Milky Way Weekly video where one of the viewers commented, sent me, and told me that there is an orb that was seen during the Milky Way Weekly live on Wednesday night that had a white orb that was, buzzing across over my head. So it's like, that's very interesting. That's very cool. So it's like, but like, why now? Why would they literally show themselves now? I tried just to be a humble little hermit, old hippie. I go through this all the time, but to the point where I understand I don't require much. I understand all these things that I've discussed in other videos that I'll try to not bore you with right now. Um, but it has to do with what the core value is. That this is the remembering. This is the seeing beyond the veil. We can see now. I could not see this orb pass in front of me, but I saw it on the video just like you did. Now, I couldn't dream it up. And I mean, I thought about it a couple of days ago, and I had a subconscious thought like, has anybody ever captured a live orb on a video? And I mean, I know there are people who have, um, captured different things. And my answer was, I'm not sure. And I've looked at a lot of videos over the years, but I can't remember ever seeing an orb live. Now, I've seen a lot of pictures of people that take a picture of someone in a room and there are orbs all around them. And I totally get that. But I could not remember a few days ago whether or not I'd seen any live video. So it was just a subconscious thought. But then right after that, they appear on my live streams. Now, of course, in my thinking, in my realm, in my philosophical, what does this mean to the grand scheme of things? At least in my world, why would a being like this show themselves? Why would they show up? And the answer that I'm getting is because they wish, they've been saying, they've been telling in the galactics that these beings, all types of beings, are going to start showing themselves more to us human beings here in this 3D world. And so it's like, okay. So now in some of the Star Trek and SG-1 and Stargate Universe and different, Voyager, different programs, they've all hinted at entities that are nothing more than a bag of gas. Can you say orb? Or orb beings? And that this bag of gas, sometimes they get caught in it, sometimes the bag of gas attaches to the vehicle or gets a, whatever it is, but they can't sense this entity. They can't see it. So they finagle their instruments to detect, because they know systems are going down, something's controlling it. They get something's wrong, so then they go looking deeper. And what they find with, tuning their senses or whatever, that here's a being that they cannot physically see, and with a lot of other images, and without reconfiguring and thinking out of the box, that an entity could exist that we couldn't see. And so in all of these different sci-fi type things, they have been putting this out there to us. And so now I've believed these types of things for a long time, and I've been taking pictures of orbs for a long time. So I have personal history and an understanding, where other people now are just kind of sort of catching on a little bit. And so the first few times I took orbs pictures, and then I was allowed to take pictures, and then just told how to take pictures of the orbs. I mean, there was just so much in this for me over at least a 20-year period, because that's when we moved into the digital age. It was harder to take orb pictures with a 35 millimeter or 110 or with film. Much easier to catch the orbs and so forth with digital, because there's a faster shutter speed, there's high definition, there are all these things. And the biggest trick, now obviously we didn't need this when that entity moved across my screen, but when I'm taking pictures, you have to fudge the flash. And at the moment, I can't remember, I think it's you click it and then flash, or maybe it's flash then click. So normally the flash goes off just a few milliseconds before the shutter opens, so that it brightens the object, red eye, and then the camera opens up its eye to take the picture. Now, if you open up the eye first and then the flash goes off, it will illuminate things that might not necessarily show up. Or if you flash it a little earlier than synchronized, then you can get different effects and catch different orbs with that. So there is a slight technique to get good pictures of orbs, but they taught me how to set the camera up when they were around me. They were like, okay, set your this, and and I'm getting like this subconscious little message. And as I'm looking at my camera, and I'm going, go to the what? You want me to go to the flash setting? Okay. And you want me to what? Put it on that one. Okay. And put this on a shutter speed. Okay. And do this with that. Okay. And do that. All right. Turn, click, shoot. Oh, boom. There you are. Oh my gosh. That's what happened in Ohio. Now it took me It took me the second time because I was really flabbergasted by the fact that I had beings talking in the back of my head, if you will. It was not intrusive anyway, but it was a very new experience for me because it was so strong and it was really, really there. And then they were speaking to me with intent. So it was like very spiritual, very humbling, very gratifying, very awe-inspiring. I mean, just across the board. So I take my entire experience, and I bring all this up because it's the entirety of my experience that has led up to this point. And so without going into all the other details, but videos and other discussions I've had. So, okay. But with that said, I have documented these things in other videos. That's what I meant. So, why now? This shows the veil lifting. Why now? Because all of our energies are changing. Why now? All the cosmic energies we're getting. Why now? Our eyes, our senses are changing and opening up. Some of us are seeing orbs. Some of us are seeing other things. Some of us are seeing, you know, people disappear into thin air, basically, or entities appear and then disappear. I mean, like just a blurb, and then like recently, I live in the country. There's no neighbors nearby. No one should just be walking by my window out here. Okay, so I see a person who I'm having difficulty with the shortness because of the windows and everything. It's like a one step, two step. They appeared out of nowhere, took two steps, and were gone again. And I just took it off to that was a weird dream. But then these things like the orbs happen, and they happen in real time. And so, and the other things that I've seen in the sky, and the download messages, and I have to sit here with a humble gratitude and go, I don't know why y'all picked me, but thank you, and I will try to stay as humble as possible with this because this is some obvious. Here we are. Please pay attention. It's like backup for me. It's like Dave, hey, Hawkeye, we spear beings, we orbs, we orb beings, we entities are literally behind you. And because my continued meditation and my continued prayer is, I wish only to speak the truth. It's like that's my agreement. If I find out that they've been trying to muddle me with wrong information, I'll shut this thing down and never say another. I would come back on and go, hey, I think they're lying to me, and I'm not going to say anything more because But to the point though, I would refuse to say anything more. I mean, and they know that. They understand me that well because it took me so long to get started at this. Okay, they would want me to do this 5 years ago, and I tried, and folks just didn't care, and that's okay. And it's like, so I meditated for a year. I'm like, well, what do I do next? And they were like, there's gonna the timelines are all weird and things were in such chaos with the Hillary and that was back then. And so, but once Trump took over and the timelines changed, things started merging. Then other things started being more clear. The I call them downloads because I don't. Other folks call them downloads too, and it's really kind of appropriate. It feels like it's coming down rather than from the side, but and it comes in a clump, a blockchain, if you will. There's a block of information. It's like it doesn't come in word for word for word for word. And I've heard Laura Eisenhower discuss it like this. I've heard other people describe it like this, and it's like, you're right. That is how it comes to me. It comes in as a block message or a blurb or a download, if you will, a little stick of information. But it'll be 2 or 3 paragraphs. It might be a whole story, whatever it is, depending on the download. So whatever the information is. So usually I get these little chunks. It's like, talk about this, talk about humanity, discuss, what it means to harm no other being. The galactic cosmic rule, the number one for everything, is do no harm to any other being. And so I'm going to be discussing this more because it goes down to a quantum level. It goes into a spiritual level. It goes into orb level. Because what do we do in our lifetime, in our lives or every day or whatever? There are orbs everywhere. Are the electronics on our cell phones and our computer and the Wi-Fi, is it driving these critters crazy? I say critters, but I mean entities. I mean that in the kindest of ways, my friends. Okay. Um, to some people, they would appear as critters, and I'm thinking, but sphere beings, these orb beings, okay? And that the orb that was on the screen or in the other previous video, I'm thinking to myself, and I said it in another video on Facebook, I said, as I'm discussing this and letting these downloads come through and allowing myself to like talk through this thing, I'm thinking to myself, in that orb could be an entire universe. And I mean, seriously, that orb could be an entire universe. It could be a combination of beings. It could just be one being. It could just be itself. There are so many different combinations with that if you will think into other realms. So, how do I prove that these things exist? Look at the video. Okay. So, in my discussion about spirit beings, in my discussion about etherical things you cannot see, smell, touch necessarily, quote, in our 3D reality, is this important? Well, would it be easier to understand that we are all spirit beings by seeing a real live orb go across the screen? Does that help you to understand there are other realms of existence now? I mean, I've been trying to prove this for years. They volunteered to show up. And it's like, yeah, now I'm really going to be watching my screen from now on. But at the same time, I'm trying to put out a thing is like, it's okay. I'm not expecting you to show up. It's entirely up to you. And I'm thinking this is sort of like a back prayer in the back of my head. I'm like, y'all can come and show up on the screen and everything. And because they know I'm going to be discussing this in a very positive tone. But at the same time, it's like the rest of me over here is like, come on, show up. There is an expectation and an excitement that they might show up again on screen. So, but at the same time, that's just because it's so cool. All right. Bottom line, it's so cool, and to be able to understand that it was just right there, that's just so cool. Not fearful, not anything. So I have respect for all beings on a quantum cosmic level. So I try to create an atmosphere or my aura, my house, my here. Right now it's a mess and I want to clean it up. That's another story. But energy wise and positive wise, negative feeling, blah, 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 I try to keep it as clean as possible here. And people who have walked in my house say, it might be a little messy, but I really feel comfortable here, And I've had people just literally like, I don't know why, but I'm throwing my shoes off and you've got, oh my gosh, I feel so comfortable. Is it okay if I take my shoes? And I'm like, yeah, this is the old country house out here, And so it's like, fine, yes, be relaxed. That's what it's all about. If you come and visit me, I would hope that you would be relaxed. Now, I've made an offer to folks for the end of September, around near my birthday. Usually I try to pick the weekend afterwards because it's usually the first cool weekend of the fall, usually. And it's just nice that you can go outside and the mosquitoes don't bother you as bad. I mean, usually, but with weather modification, who knows? But anyway, so I was just thinking of having not necessarily a birthday party, but an anniversary. I'll be 66. And it's not a big deal. I would like to have prayer with folk. If I was to have like a birthday wish, I would like folks to come out, sit around the fire with me, and let's have good prayer. That'd be my birthday wish, so that I could share things with them, so that I could answer questions one-on-one with someone, so I could give them a hug, so I could literally share my energy with someone on a one-to-one basis. That would be my gift for a birthday present. so that so that I could give of myself to others in a communal type prayer type sing along fire, but to the point that is spiritual in itself. So it's like, if it doesn't happen, it's okay, it's all right. I'm not saying, but if somebody were to offer me, what do you want for your birthday? That would be it. To have people who want to come together and have a prayer, have a drum, have music, have a community, nice, let's all chill out, and not necessarily make it a meditation, but a group consciousness of fun, lightheartedness, togetherness, you know, that'd be it. Because I'd be sending off and I'd be asking everybody with me, let's send this good energy out to the universe. Let's share this stuff with as many people as we can. I don't know, maybe do a live stream or something. I hadn't thought that far. But if somebody were to ask me, what do you want for your birthday, Dave? That'd be it. That would be like the most superb birthday gift because it would allow me to give myself back. I know, crazy, huh? So, but what does the orb business mean? It means that the higher levels are here. They're allowing themselves to be seen, various modes of apparatus, cell phones outside, now in a moving in a live stream. And it's like, this is sort of a soft disclosure, if you will, to ET. Now, sphere beings, orb beings, don't require a spaceship that I've noticed. So it's like, all right, well, this is interesting here. So they don't require a spaceship. They just move around at will. They go where they want to. Now, I sometimes wonder because I've been to the same location. Now, I can't say they were the exact same orbs, but they were. It seemed like there was a pattern that was very reminiscent of like I'd take some pictures of orbs on in April, then I'd go back in June, and then again in September or October, same location, just different times of the year, and that the orbs would look about the same. They're the really mean red one, but lots of other different colors, lots of blue, and all these other colors. So it's like, it seemed like family. And I actually would get with some of the pictures that I took that I need to upload and find with me standing by my truck and orbs all around me and off in the distance. Really cool pictures. And so that will explain what I'm talking about. That while they were around me, I got this general feeling from these orbs, from these entities. And so I shared with that. I spoke to them. I thanked them. And they allowed me to take numerous pictures. So before I go into any kind of pictures, I always thank the spirits, even though they might be a little far off or might not necessarily be nearby me at the time I take a picture, which I've done before. I have taken pictures, no orbs, and then said a prayer out to just the open field and said, you know, I thank you. I love you. I am here in respect. I wish to take your picture if you will allow it. Join me, share with me. I love you. And, just speak to them. And folks will say, well, he's bat crap cray cray. There's nothing there until you take the picture. And then you go, oh, well, there's a whole field full of orbs. What was I talking to? I was talking to the orb beings in the field that I could feel their presence. And so I acknowledged them. And I asked to take the picture so I could see them. So I knew where they were. So, and they knew my intent versus I want to take these pictures and spread them out. Now, an orb appears on live video. There's intent with that particular orb because it would not just do that. Orbs don't volunteer. What? Wait. Hang on. Wait. Orbs will only volunteer. Okay. Sometimes you can catch them unawares, but most of the times, if you're like me, I'm going to go to this location. I know I've taken years of pictures of orbs at this location. They know when I show up, Dave Hawkeye's here to take our picture again. So, but automatically at the same time, I realize that there may be hundreds of beings of these different orb beings there, and that I automatically now say hello to them. As soon as I get out of the truck, I'm like, "Hi, everybody. This is Hawkeye. I'm back. I bring you peace and joy and greetings and harmony and love. I wish blessings to all you beings, and mean it." But it, I gotta say, in my earlier days, I would speak to a field without being able to take a picture because it was back in the days of film. And I didn't understand how I could take a picture of orbs in a field with a 35 millimeter type camera. Now, after progressing and going down my path, following my shaman journey, that what they have allowed me to do is learn how to take their picture. They have instructed me on how to take their picture. They have explained to me how nice it is when I respect them, when I ask them, when I greet them and say hi, rather than, well, I'm just going to show up and take the. No, say hello to the beings. Greet them, be warm, be genuine. And then they will allow you to take their picture. Or like for here, one just shows up on my screen. So it's like, but that's because I understand. And regardless of whether I see them with these eyes, I empathize. I know through my previous experience that entities exist that I can't see, but I can kind of get that little tingly, there's something in the room or in the air or whatever. Not, and I don't mean, now, wait, hang on. Sometimes it can be a nasty that you feel like, oh crap, I don't want that. But the more that I work on my own energy, the more that I emit the white light, the more that I push my aura out with positive intent, with no fear now, because the more I have understood these quantum things, then it's like the spirits are going, yeah, brother, we with you. Yeah, okay, right on, brother. You're understanding us. And you're trying to explain to other people that we exist, that we are live, we are real, that they should be treated with respect. What are we doing with these radio waves? I mean, what are we doing with all this this EM fields and stuff to the world? Do we know what we're doing to these beings? Because they're of this other dimension. Obviously, you saw one fly by. If they could speak to us, what would they say? Shut off all that crap. Maybe, or 2.0 ain't going to have this. I don't know. But to the point, though, it's like, well, you must allow yourself to think in, there is no box in this circumstance. You have to throw away the idea of thinking out of the box. You have to think there is no box. And some people are like, well, wait a minute. Doesn't that mean think out of the box? No. And I mean that with respect. And there is this tiny little difference, and it's an esoteric, weirdy kind of, but here's the thing. If you have to say the word box to make a reference to something, you've already missed the point. Because the universe and things, where's the box? There is no box. So the term think out of the box, your first think out of box, think box out of, but wait, the box is in there. Your thought got boxed up by the words you said. I know, kind of weird sort of magic in there. But that wordplay is that's sort of the mantra of this. So and I mean, I've said it a bunch of times, don't get me wrong, but I'm trying to show you there is a thin line to this, but this thin line is again how to understand more deeply what the bigger mega ritual picture is for the planet, what we speak, how we speak it, our phraseology. So if you say think out of the box, you've already got a box in your brain. You've already got a picture of a box and thinking out of it. And I'm saying what the galactic, what the spiritual realm of this is, there never was a box. Okay. So there is no way to compare this in any kind of container. There is no box for the universe. Okay, other things, other ideas. Okay, but if you're going to speak in terms of the universe, then you must think there is no box. So you can't think out of it because there ain't a box. You can, as soon. I think you understand what I'm saying. I'm not going to belabor the point, but there is magic in what I just said. There is magic in saying, think out of the box, and the magic is negative because it holds you and retains you within those constructs. Your brain automatically thinks there's a there's a realm here, you know, and the universe is there is no realm. The universe is all things, all places, all directions, in many ways, shapes, and forms, seen, unseen, sometimes picked up on a digital camera, sometimes, seen by people with insight, foresight, whatever. Infrared glasses, things show up, beings and different stuff. Okay. So, out of our original view, proof that other things exist, proof there is, and that there are other realities we should respect. And that we, if you want to ascend, if you want to get this, you have to look at this bigger picture. It's not my rule. I keep reiterating that. It's not about me, but it's about, do you understand? Do you get it? Do you get it that there are beings that you can't see? Do you get that they're not, not all these things are mean and are going to attach themselves? The ones around me are telling me to be nice, warm, and fuzzy to you. They get me up in the middle of the night and tell me to do videos like this to explain the meaning of this spirituality. And that when we leave this meat body, we might turn into an orb. That might be souls from these nearby cemeteries that have been trapped upon this earth. I have prayed for the souls in this neighborhood in my meditations, and I have asked the spirits, if you are lost, if you can't find the light, because we've all been stuck here for many millennia because of the earth entrapment, and et cetera, things I've discussed before. But to the point, though, so these orb beings could very well be the souls of the people in from these cemeteries that are near here, and of other beings and souls from previous and so forth. But to the point, though, why are they here? Maybe they're stuck because they don't know where else to go. And because of the entrapment of the earth, they're still hanging around here. Now, this particular one that has shown up recently, I think has a different goal or purpose or whatever, because it flown in and out and showed up on several videos. And so it's like, that is with intent. Spirit beings can do things with intent. So it's like, it wasn't an accident. That's what I'm trying to say. Seeing the orb appear on this screen was not an accident. It was a purposeful event by the being that showed up on the screen. That's what I'm being told. But that makes perfect sense. Because otherwise, if they were in the room and blah, blah, wouldn't we see them on the screen right now? It's because they choose not to cross the screen right now. It's that they don't need to make the point right at this moment. I haven't asked them. In fact, I said, you don't have to show up. It's cool. Let me discuss this because you've already proven yourself a couple of times already right here. So it's like you don't have to keep showing up to prove a point, but you can if you want to. It's freedom. But from my standpoint, it's like I'm not going to sit here and go, "Why didn't the damn thing show up again?" Ain't going there. I am so privileged to have been able to see it, share it, and discuss it. So I'm hoping that some of this makes sense because I'm still trying to unravel it for myself. Honest to God, here I sit, same chair, almost 24 hours later from what happened last night, well, it was early yesterday morning now, Thursday morning. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, I'm kind of a gaga. But it still goes into a higher realm in that they allowed this to happen. I just keep going back to that. They allowed it to happen. They showed up between me and the screen on purpose. It wasn't an accident. I've done too many videos. You know, why now? I'm asking this because I wish to explain it to myself as well as to you. Why now? Why show up now? Why show up in my video of all people? But, so, all right. I'm an unimportant Joe. I'm Hawkeye Two Feathers, the old hippie hermit down in the woods. I talk to plants, animals, rocks, trees, birds, everything. I talk to entities that I can't physically see. So I'm a crazy bird. Why me? Because I'm a simple person. It boils down to that. I'm a simple person. I don't require a lot of stuff. And especially in my later life, it's like I've already accumulated enough junk. Okay. But I love tools. I'm a geek for tools, not necessarily electronic things, but and yes, I built many of my own computers and I know all about that kind of stuff. And I taught, 3D CAD, AutoCAD for many years to, co-op students from, Georgia Tech and many other colleges in the state of Georgia. So I've been there, done that, been a teacher, been an instructor, an instructor. So it's like, why now? Why me, Lord? What have I ever done to deserve even one? That's where my head's at. And I think it's because the angels appeared to the shepherds as they tended their flocks in the field. They didn't show up at the mayor's house or the magistrate or whatever in town. The angels appeared to the shepherds tending their flocks, tending their sheep in the nighttime, watching the stars, being one with nature, being one with the animals, being one with creation, if you will. So, why did the angels appear to the shepherds? Because the shepherds were so in tune with the earth, their surroundings, God, the stars, the universe. Because if you've ever been out tending sheep or anything, outside fields, oh my gosh, you have a totally different perspective of the world than people who live in a small town, in a house. Yeah, it's just different, okay? So why would an angel appear to them? Because the angels saw that they, the shepherds, were very much like the angels themselves as shepherds on the planet, on the earth. They knew that those shepherds would understand the angels because they themselves, the shepherds, had this spirit of creator and of creation and of the earth and of that earth energy and the magic I speak about. So when the angels came down, they recognized if we're going to speak to someone, we're going to, the guy in town don't get it. The guy over, they don't get it. These other people don't get this. They're not going to understand the message. We wanted to, not that the shepherds were stupid, not that they didn't know. I mean, to tend sheep and live out there and to do what they do and the roam and the this and the stuff. My gosh, they know a lot. It's common sense, natural things, but that's just as important as knowing how to type a letter on a keyboard and send it an email. In the grand scheme of things, which is more important? Well, tending the flock, doing this, and being close to the earth, being in harmony. So the angels spoke to them. They spoke to the wise men. Why the wise men? Because they were wise. Because the wise men, ding, 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 were in tune with natural things. They brought gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Now, the gold in the old days could have very well been powdered gold, which was sometimes eaten for the anyway. So that this it was frankincense and myrrh. So they were bringing herbs and spices, senses, and interesting. Why not bring a baby rattle? Why not bring a blanket? Oh no, they brought these other gifts. Interesting. The three magicians, the magi. Wow. Now, of course, I'm talking about basically the nativity scene and the birth of Christ and all this kind of stuff, Bible thing. But to the point, though, as a transitional, as things were discussed, though, the angels showed up to a common person who was grounded to the earth. Now, yes, I've had visits from other entities and things, and obviously the orb going by is kind of proof to that. But all I am as a person, I'm just a common, grounded, earthy old dude. I'm not doing anything magical except paying attention to the entire universe. There is no box. It is all, it is everything, it is everywhere. And we're all, I mean, if you could understand how our electromagnetical, I mean, it's like our cell phone, well, your cell phones, I don't use a cell phone, but to this computer, it has a specific IP address. And so when you look at it, there's so many decimal, there's so many numbers and a decimal point, numbers, decimal point. That's your designation. That's your IP address. Each one of us spirits, we have our own IP address. Seriously. And every other being in the universe, not galaxy or solar system, but way out there, everything has its own IP address. So if I knew what that orb being's IP address was or is, I could communicate with it. I could think, I'm going to say, I would think the number in my head, and that would be a direct phone call to that entity. Say, hey, can 19-29-44-42-4, you want to chat? Ding, ding, and we're immediately connected. And so it has been said for a long time, and that, I've talked about my Granny Raleigh before she passed away, and there were so many times, dozens and dozens and dozens of times before she passed, that I would pick up the phone to call her, she would be dialing me the old rotary fashion way. And I'd go, hello, Grandma. And I would have just called her, and she had picked up the phone to call me at the same time, so many times. Instantly. There was no gap. It was instantaneous communication with my granny in Florida while I was up here in Georgia. And I've had this communication with other people as well. call him up on the phone and I go, I was just thinking about you, my friend who showed up tonight late. I was like, he goes, he even said, he goes, you thought about me that I might be coming over tonight, didn't you? And I went, well, yeah, kind of. I don't know why. I thought about you might being over earlier, but I'm not surprised you're here. And he was like, he had the same thought. He goes, I bet you Dave was thinking about me today. And I was like, so there was the synchronicity in him showing up today because he spoke of think about me thinking about him coming up. I mean, okay. And so the quantumness, it happened about the same time as we had our conversation here. And so it was like, yeah, I was about that. Yeah, yeah. There you go. It happens instantaneously. No phone calls necessary. So if we know each other's IP address and can understand it, when I get this little picture of a person in my head, they might actually be thinking of me at that same point in time. So I think back, okay, there's a thought. Now he thought, I'm going to stop by Dave's later on when I'm in the neighborhood. Okay, fine. I caught that thought and went, oh, you might be coming over later on. So I was like, did he just, and so back at the same time, this all went like within seconds. His thought back was like, Dave's going to think, whether or not I'm going to come over tonight. And I was like, so he knew I was going to pick up on his thought. I know I'm beating this up to death, ain't I? But it's interesting. This just happened before I started this video. So it's like these things happen all the time. When you open yourself up more to it, when you really, really get it, we are all spirits. We are already connected if we'll just wipe away the cobwebs, if we'll take away some of the fear, the social discussion, for many of us, well, I can't say me anymore, but so many people that I know my age and others that socially have grown up just in a totally different way, and that's fine. I knew that I chose this paddle. I'm thinking of paddling my kayak. Okay, that's where the paddle came in, not paddling someone. Paddle like paddle a kayak. Really want to go on the water, and it's coming. But I've got 2 kayaks and a canoe. Anybody want to come? Just say it. And all the gear. What does this mean in the grand scheme of things? And why am I still rattling on about this? I guess it's because it is so important to me that anyone who might listen to this conversation can understand it's really simple, but it's complex at the same time. The simplicity is you must drop all the trappings that you've learned in your lifetime. What society, I was discussing maybe with Milky Way just last night or the night before now, but anyway, about the fact that, just in the last 15 to 20 years, and some of the kids who were born, in the late 90s, early 2000, or teenagers now or young adults. And it's like they don't know any other way but computers and cell phones and all these things. They have no idea what a rotary phone is and that you had to dial the damn thing, and why certain things are called certain things, when when it shows up on your Google Hangout, it says dial. Well, you're not actually dialing anything. It's going beep, 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 it's connecting in a different way. But it's referring to old telephones a century ago where you used the rotary dial. So even though we don't use that type of invention, we still use the word. Interesting. And why do I bring this up? It's because we are living in a different realm. We're still using terminology, 100-year-old terminology, dial up. Let's dial a friend. Let's dial up computer. It was a dial up, back in the day. Okay. So we keep this terminology, even though the technology is more or less dead in so many ways. You could still use a rotary phone, I guess. I don't know. But to the point, though, all right. Um, what does this have to do with orbs? We've moved into an electronic age. Everything is now radio frequencies. Everything is now literally digits. We each have an IP address. I mean, my Roku box has an IP address. It's the same digits down to like the last dot. And then it has its own personal designation on my home router, which is the green lights back there in the back flittering. So my upstairs computer, which has been offline for a year now due to the Windows crapola, um, it has its own IP address. Same bunch of front digits, but that last dot is like a 2. This computer is like a dot 3. So even though it comes into a single router over there, each of the devices has its own designation with this router. Same thing with all different routers and things. It all picks up, the wireless thing. It, works. But the thing is though, everything has a designation. They know where my Roku box is at all times. Google, when it signs in, it says, "Hi, David." Okay. If I take my Chrome box to the IHOP for dinner and plug it in there, it knows where I'm at. It's, "Hi, David, you're visiting IHOP." Oh, well, how now you? Oh, we're Google. We know these things. Oh, okay. It's like, all right. We need to. I'm using the computer IP address thingamajiggy for a specific reason because the galactics have been saying each of us spirit beings, souls, entities, however you want to call us, that we are Max, howdy, early in the morning or late at night for you, depending on where you live in. But greetings, blessings to you. I'm having a chit chat about the damn orbs that crossed my screen about this time yesterday, 24 hours ago, as a matter of fact. Kind of wishing they'll show back up, but anyway. But the galactic message has been, if I can discuss something in a terminologies that someone will understand, like when I was discussing with Rainbow Phoenix about astral projection. Why do people have a tendency to not be able to lift out of their bodies? It's because your physical body is breathing, and in your spirit mind body, you try to breathe in your spirit body, and your spirit body doesn't need to breathe. And so, but one of the first things that you catch trying to do when you first learn to astral project and you're putting yourself into meditation and so forth, just heading to bed and listening. Well, I'm about to wrap this up. Come back to the beginning of this. I do touch on some interesting things, I hope, because being able to see an orb go across the screen and know it was like it was right here, Max, I realize that I've been discussing these things. I don't know how long you've watched my videos or how much you know about me, but in the grand scheme of things, just in 5 minutes, you'll understand that, I've been meditating, doing things for a lot of years, and I've seen a lot of strange things, but to have something show up on a live stream video of an orb, to like, here, hi, wave at the audience as you go by kind of thing, I just think to myself, holy crap-a-moly. And I've said this earlier in the last 59 minutes, that I've been taking pictures of orbs and things for many years, and I've learned to respect them, whether I can see them with my eyes, but I know I can catch them with my camera. So I always speak to the entities with respect, like, can I take your picture, please? I love you. I bring you greetings. Sometimes I'll take sage, I'll burn it, depending on where I'm taking pictures or whatever. But so to the point, though, I give these entities respect. And in the past, I didn't, and they killed my camera. I took 3 sets of batteries one time for my camera, and in less than 40 minutes, every single battery was dead, and they were all brand new when I took them. So they will kill your camera dead, I mean, literally kill your camera if you're not polite and give them show respect. So it's like, but to a lot of people, it's like, but you're just talking to the air. Yeah, but wait a minute, hang on there. That's the whole point of my discussion. That's why I'm here. I'm here to say, y'all, there is so much more all around us right now besides the universe, but just around us. Sometimes they pass in front of us on a live stream. Hey, y'all. And I think it's the spirits who are guiding me to have these conversations to say, listen, folks, please, we really are real. There really is another reality that is existing. We're like in a fishbowl, if you will, and they're swimming all around us. I mean, picture it however you wish to. But the fact that it did show up, it has showed up, and probably will again, as they're telling me in the background. Maybe not tonight, but that's not the point. But the thing is that I already have proof of these beings. They already allowed themselves to be seen because they don't just do this willy nilly. It wasn't an accident that that orb appeared in the video. Not an accident. That was a planned event by them, not me. If you saw the video and saw the expression on my face, you will absolutely know that I'm still flabbergasted that it happened and that they showed themselves the way they did. But also, it gives validity to what I speak about. And for the sphere being, I thank them for that because then it gives me some credibility, if you will. I speak only honesty from my heart, from my soul to other beings to listen. I want you to understand these things. They're in each of us. Every one of us has got this talent. It's for all of us. And wake up in here and not the blue pill, red pill stuff, but to the point, just allow your spirit to awaken itself. The cosmic energies are coming in, they're healing us, they're doing things to some of us that are making us crazy. And to other folks like me, spirit beings are showing up and I'm getting these synchronicities with quantum ESP, on a consistent basis with different people, with folks I've never even met personally, over the internet and things. It's like, so and the list continues. It's been going on for me for years, but now other people are getting involved with me in the fact that, I've had this experience, but here's old crazy Dave. He said all this shit. He talks about it all the time. He can't shut up about it, but oh my God, I'm seeing that some of these things are real and I want you to experience them. I'm just giving my side of the story because that's the only side I can really give. And it's not about being narcissistic. It's not about me. It is about the story. It is about the facts. It is about reality. It is about these things. I'm just the messenger. I'm just the storyteller. I'm just the communicator. And so I'm very pleased. I'm still, it tickles me to death. Maybe one of these little buggers are behind me giving me a wiggle tickle or something. But to the point, it's like, in my original prayer, I've asked that, I have guidance, that whatever I'm asked to speak about, that it is the truth, and I will say, hey, I ain't sure about this, but if I'm speaking of things from the heart and about nature and about the connections and things like these are things that are inbred in me. So I can speak on them from a very personal and spiritual level on a one-to-one basis with folks who wish to listen. And so it is important on that level. But at the same point, when I speak about spirits and ghosts and orbs and things like that, yeah, where's your proof, dude? Well, I really didn't ask for for them to show up, but they did. And it's like, oh my gosh, how can it's like, somebody want to prove me wrong? Go watch the video. Go watch the video. That's all I got to say. It's like, I can't make this up. I don't know if I'd want to even. I mean, in my dream of thought of things like, could I make an apparition appear? If I would sit here and say, okay, I'm going to conjure up an orb and I'm going to show it to y'all. Well, at some point, in my learning of natural magic, I would like to be able to do that. And I understand that I can, but I haven't learned the technique yet. I'm still practicing. And, and it's like you see in the movies. You put your hands together like this, and with a good motion and with a lot of intent, you can literally, especially if you do it well. It's like right now, I can feel warmth on the palms of my hands. And if I change the polarity, and if I move my hands in such a way, and I create the energy and I draw upon it, I can literally create a ball of warmth between the palms of my hands without touching my palms. And so I tell other people it's how you help, because you exchange energy with your palms, and big deal, right? So it's like, you want to practice, then practice feeling warmth. Practice, think negative and positive. The right hand is always the good hand. It's the shaking hand. It's the giving hand. The left hand is usually for getting rid of stuff. So if there was a positive and a negative in things, your left hand should be more of the negative side versus the right hand and the positive side. A lot of history in this, a lot of shamanism in this, but trust me, pick left is negative, right is positive. And so when you do this, though, you think positive magnetism, negative magnetism. Think two magnets you try to force together from the up, of the same ends, and but you can create a magnetic field in your hands, and it's really cool. I mean, I can feel the compression, and it's not air. There is another energy there. But I have been practicing for years, and I want to keep playing with it. But it's fun to know that I can, at least in my eye, and maybe I can't see it. There might actually be an invisible ball of something there that I have created. So when I have a thought that I want to send to someone, I will do it in a ball of energy. I will think about, I'm sending this prayer to my grandson. Happy birthday. I love you. Be safe. Have a good time. Da 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 da. And I send this with love and honor and respect from your Grandpa D, Hawkeye. And boom. And I send it out to the universe. And I mean, I literally just then, that was another prayer did send to my grandson, and it just went out because I made this little ball of energy of intent with good, et cetera, et cetera. Wham. And I sent it to the universe. And I've had people go say, man, it felt like I got whacked upside the head. I thought about you out of nowhere. And it was like, boom, it hit me. And I was like, well, what was the thought? So I know this stuff works. And um, I don't have my glasses on. I can't read, so I'm gonna put them on here just to. I agree. Show me. Yes, altering and concentrating energy. Carillion photography shows our field extends past our flesh. Absolutely, Max. Absolutely. And one of the things that I've been trying to teach people to do is how to meditate with the tree. And through that type of photography is what led way back in the late 60s, 70s when it was really coming out. And we could see the edges of leaves, and they'd cut a leaf and the energy would still be there. And it's like, what? Phantom leaf? Okay. So this, when the first time I saw that photography, it immediately put me into a different realm of thinking way back then. And so when people say, well, all this fake stuff, no, go look at that photography. Go look at what's really there. And I say, go share your aura, your energy, your whatever with different things. Different types of trees have different types of energy. Pine trees are really funny and goofy and sappy, and oak trees are old and wisdom, and walnut trees are different, and cherry trees are different, but they all have their own uniqueness because they are different types of trees. So each tree has its own aura, its own field, and if you would just people would just stop and realize this is so cosmic. It's not just that; it's everything in the universe is like that. So there are meditators, and I think this is really cool, and I say I practice it, and in a big way I do, Max, in that When I say I wish to extend my love, so I think heart, and the different chakras. Okay, I don't go into it. It's in here. Let's just pick this spot. Okay, heart, whatever, stomach, soul, whatever. Okay, fine. But with that thought, though, I place it in here, and through it, I try to send it up through my head. I don't know. That's just how it seems to go. But it is a heart soul energy, but because of my thoughts and the energy and all that kind of stuff, it's sort of like my antenna. Out it goes. And so I will envision something that will help someone, or a prayer, or a healing, or whatever that item might be. And I send it with that intent through here, out there, out to yonder. And I've learned over the years to send it in a blast. In other words, I don't mull on the prayer. You do a short prayer, a lot of intent, send it quick, and it gets there, and it's much more effective than a 10-minute prayer, meditate. Now, that works too. If somebody's really sick and you need to meditate for a couple hours on somebody's healing or wellness, that's different. But if you're sending somebody a pick me up or whatever, even short healings, you can get a lot still out of a good short burst of intent. And that's like, doing the energy. And basically, watch some of these movies where, like The Magicians or something, anyway, where some of these folks will do this thing with the ball of energy and they'll like this. It's real. There are entities, people, folks who can do that. Merlin the magician, old magicians with earth magic. And and the magic is that it's natural earth magic. It can be, quote, conjured with positive intent. Now, there are those wicked, nasty folk who can do it too, but they're drawn upon a whole different realm. We don't wish to go there. So, but with positive intent, you can get energy. You can create it. I mean, I literally, as I practice it, I can feel an energy field there. And it's like I know in my brain, yeah, okay, I can't see it, but you know what? I can't see the orb with my eyes either, but I saw it on the screen. I see it in the pictures I take. So, what's real? I can feel it. All right, that's close enough for me. I've done this before and not felt anything, like clapping. Okay. No, but when you put intent and an energy and, and you want to create something, and when you tune into the natural energy of the earth, the conjuring, if you will, is speaking the words of Mother Earth. And people say, well, you're talking about the goddess. Well, in a way, yes, but you're not praying. You're not, uh, what am I trying to say? You're not asking, quote, a deity to appear. You're simply channeling the natural energy of Mother Earth. Now, any good wizard or sorceress will say, and I mean this in the true sense of white only, okay? Because anybody who dabbles in the black they're doomed. So there are a lot of people who still work in the white magic, earth magic, lighting a candle and turning off the lights and having 10 minutes of meditation and prayer. Oh my God, that's paganism. Seriously. I mean, that's how it goes way back. And that's a form of earth magic because you're focusing on a single thing. It's a natural burning, blah, 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 blah. So lot into that. Okay. But so when you do that, though, you have to understand that it's not magic that you say, now, wait, let me back up before I go any further. They stopped me in my tracks with that one. There are magic words. There are enchantments. There are these things, and they do exist. They do exist. I have dabbled in the arts a long time ago, in the wrong kind of arts, and realized then I got my fingers burned and a bunch of other stuff to boot. However, when you see a demon appear in your little realm of conjuring, you will automatic. I mean, I'm glad that bitch went back. But to the point, though, I realized, oh my God, but there are good entities just as well. And that energy and the magic and the thing that I used had to do with my intent. Now, yes, there were words I spoke, but the words that I spoke were like, if you really got right down to it, it would be like, um, I'm not going to say a dark spell, but the magic of it would be, thank you, Mother Earth. I respect you, Mother Earth. Please, Mother Earth, help me channel your energy. My intent, Mother Earth, is to use this energy to send a burst of healing to a friend of mine. So it's like my intent with this is to use the energy, allow the energies to flow through me, allow the cosmos to use me as an instrument of healing. So the mantra, if you will, which is to a lot of people would just simply be their thought, their intent. Those are the magic words. So they're written down over the years. So there's certain things want to be achieved. Well, okay, I have Newton, all that. That exists as well. But to the point, though, a real magician only needs his intent. Now, it can be spoken, it can be written, and there is power in all of the above. There's power in the written word. There's power in it. And it's that, yes, it's real, because when you write it down, it goes in, the energy goes into the universe. You got to understand these things, okay? It's like an orb passing in front of the screen. It's really there, y'all. So now, but the simple magic of creating this energy is nothing more than intent. Now, I can sit here and play with it and everything, but I don't really have an intent to go with it. Why would I create a ball of energy right now? Just for fun? It's got to be more than that. There has to be something with it. Another, for the energy to be allowed to flow through you so that it will transpire, so that you can harness the natural of this universe. So if you're sitting around playing around, it's like, wrong attitude, wrong medicine, wrong. But when you do it with positive intent, okay, so you're practicing, but practice with intent. Practice on it. I'm going to send a positive message to my brother or whoever. But pick a something simple. Pick a something simple. And when you do, but go through it, go through all the steps, that's the practice. So, I tell folks, don't just be fooling around like, well, you can go like this, and test yourself. That's one thing. But if you're just going around like this all day long, to like, wrong, bad intent, wrong, okay? Because you're missing the point. You need the focus. You need the, other things in there. So let me put my glasses on and read what you wrote. I'm sorry, but I have to ignore you because if I can't finish a train of thought, I just lose it. I'm all over the place. But I love the read. I love to touch the trees. Absolutely. Yours for me too. I feel a pillar of energy moving through me in one blast as well. I feel like a mighty tree or fountain when I express my intention. Absolutely. And if you've ever meditated with a tree, then you can feel what it's like to be a leaf at the top of a tree. I mean, oh, you gotta love that. Yes, it feels like it comes up through me from the earth. I do not worship and I don't do ceremonies. Okay, to the word ceremony. If you sit, and I do this a lot, I say out loud my intent. I wish to send this to my grandson. I wish to, okay, so I say it out loud. That is the ceremony. Okay, that's it. Now, there are other people who go through a bunch of hoobly doobly stuff, but that is the ceremony. When you speak your intent, even though it is this thing, that is the ceremony. And in that respect, it is very much appreciated and allowed by the universe. Now, when you get into all this seriously hocus pocus, I have Newt, blah, 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 and you're going into the witches book, nah, ain't talking that. Those are ceremonies as well. I mean, I grew up in the Catholic Church. The whole damn thing is a ceremony. These people are blood sucking cannibals. The Catholics are. They got to get a grip. So I understand these things. But to the point, though, understand that it's okay to use the word ceremony, because it is what you do. You're speaking of your prayer, your intent. That is the ceremony. That's it. It is as simple as that. But at the same time, the word has gotten a bad, crappy name to it and stuff attached to it. Understand that it's okay when you understand what your ceremony is. That is simply a prayer to help a friend. It's an inside prayer to that. But also, when you speak it aloud, it helps the magic. It helps with, quote, the ceremony. Now, the ceremony is that you're speaking it to the universe. You're allowing the universe to become a part of your prayer, to become a part of your intent. So in that, it is a ceremony. I know there's a lot, but I'm trying to show you that the word has very good intent when it's understood correctly. I hope that makes a little bit of sense. Now I know I try to not use the word God because of all the negative connotations with that, and I try to stay with creator or source or something like that, because to me that really explains better what my intentions are. However, as much as I say I want to get rid of ceremonies, as a shaman and a person who has studied all these different things, what my simple spoken words of good wishes and prayer to someone is a ceremony. I'm acting with the universe to do this intent. So I think I've made my point. I hope I did. And, to some folks, we agree in thought. I never repeat a saying or a mantra. Well, but sometimes it's okay. And there repeating a mantra, for example, the Buddhist monks and things that I've learned about that, there is a harmony that is done. It's sort of like, have you ever heard those throat folk? They do that, or what they would call a whirling dervish. Okay, and it's the dancing, it's the twirling, and there is a spirituality. I'm sorry, I've been to native powwows. Um, um, I've done Native American powwows, and I've sat on the sidelines, and then I've danced, and it's like you do your own dance. It's not like yes, and the frequency, for example, yes. And since you're chatting with me, hang on just a second. I just had to stand up for a second. There's my cigarette. Wondered what I did with it. A friend of mine traveled to the east. They're dusty, but these came from the Great Wall of China, these bells and this attachment. And so what you do is you get a rhythm going. It's been a while since I've done this, and you have to get them just right. But the monks walk around with these bells. But they would walk around the Great Wall of China and around the different monasteries and Buddhist monks and the Hindu type monks and so forth. But and there are symbols on here that are ancient symbols onto these brass bells. Now, when you get them, when I'm meditating and I get these going just right, if I don't know how old you are, but in the old days, I remember clackers. There were two plastic balls on a string, and you went like this. A lot of times, you got your knuckles broke. But anyway, when you get these bells going just right, and the rhythm with your hand, with the intent and the meditation, there is something there that is absolutely takes you to another realm. It's unbelievable. The bells are absolutely wonderful ways to folks. You will use a gong, boom. There's a frequency in there. The throat singers, you reach a certain thing down deep inside, and it draws in an energy. You, if you've never done it, then you don't get it. And I don't mean to speak ill of folk, but when you reach a certain point with it, like playing a didgeridoo, when you learn how to rebreathe and you get that tone out of a didgeridoo, it's like, oh my God, that I got a didgeridoo over there too, but I ain't even going to try it right now. But to the point though, but when you hear these tones, these natural tones, when these frequencies interact with yours, boing, and they're all natural. I mean, they're two brass bells on a piece of leather, But the friend that got these for me, bless him. There is a clarity to the bell and the tones. Yes, good. The frequencies and well, see, each one of us, as I was describing just as you came on, we each have an IP address. We are our own IP address, which means it's our own frequency. And so 50 years, I'll be 66 next month. Yay! I know people are thinking I'm plugging for a birthday present or something. Nah, what I said earlier was that the birthday present for me would to have a group of people want to come out and have a campfire, a drumming, a meditation, a prayer, whatever, music, laughter, jokes, no fighting, but that would be a wonderful birth. If I was to ask for a birthday present, that'd be it. To share with other people. That'd be it. No birthday present. Well, you could bring a cake. I was thinking of somebody. I was like, "Is there cake?" But anyway, but to the point though is like, I'm still contemplating why did the orb show up, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm just basically a shepherd in the field with his flock of sheep. Well, they're chickens, but and they're penned in the cage, but to the point, I'm just a humble old hippie that lives down in the woods, and I have chosen to live as close as I can to Mother Nature. And since the late 60s and early 70s, the hippiedom area, I never left it. But with that said, though, there are people now who are trying to understand things on a core basis that I've just understood for a long time. I got it way back then, and I am living that. And so, but it's just basically a core value. My birthday is September 24th, right after the the autumnal equinox. And I think it's Rosh Hashanah or something anyway. There's a bunch of stuff around my birthday always. But 24th of September, I'm barely a Libra, a lot of Virgo tendencies, they say, but I have embraced my Libra side much more than the Virgo side. Because in this lifetime, I seek balance. Well, I don't know. I was almost born on the cusp. So, I made it at least till the 24th. But anyway, so, there are a lot of synchronicities in my life. I mean, I've said before that at the age of 4 and 5, people asked me what I was going to be when I grew up. And I told them I was going to be a hermit and live in the woods near a river. I'm a hermit. I live in the woods and I got a river in my backyard. I knew these things at the age of 5. So I've known what my path has been. I've been kicking and screaming a lot about what do I do with this crap, but then in all of my life and the things that I've done, what I'm supposed to do is be the communicator. Just tell my story, try to explain to people, what about this point of view? What about that point of view? September 17th for you, eh? Well, cool. My pops was born on September the 19th, and I'll be celebrating his birthday on the 19th. So a happy birthday to you early, and blessings always. And so are you going to be 50 or are you 50? Just curious. I'll be 66, which is 12, which is 3. But the sixes and the threes and the nines anyway. Anyway, I won't go there. Yeah, I was chosen to do this a long time ago. And I've talked about my Mother Mary messages and some other videos. And suffice it to say that at age 11, there's a lot of stuff happened to me. And I'm seeing these things now unfold in front of my eyes. And I'm going, holy crap, And in 2013, somebody asked in a chat or something earlier today, I was hanging around and they asked something about, have you ever had premonitions? And it's like, well, yeah, but nobody wants to hear what I saw. They were like, well, have you ever, remote viewed? And I'm like, yeah, I really have, but you really don't want to hear what I saw. You really don't. And the thing is, it's been happening. I've talked about the earthquakes. In a video or two month or so ago, I talked about, Guatemala, keep your eyes out. There's going to be an earthquake. Some bitch, if it wasn't the next morning, less than 6 hours later, there was that huge earthquake and volcano erupted in Guatemala, killed all them people. I saw it all in my dream. I could hear them screaming. And it's like, you don't want to hear what I've seen, And is it all bad? No. But some of this stuff has been really crappy. And I feel like, Atlas with the weight of the world on my shoulders at times. And I try to speak about it, but, who wants to hear the nasty crap, So I've asked the spirits, it's like, hey, give me positive stuff to talk about. I mean, you give me visions of the earthquakes and, exactly here recently, I told folks to watch out. There was going to be a spate of earthquakes between Guatemala and guess where? Now I can't think of it. Oh, it's one of those little countries near Panama, down Costa Rica. And sure enough, they hit off the coast of Costa Rica. And I even said they're going to be in the 4 or 5 range. They're going to be fairly hefty. And I watch Dutch Sense and I keep appraised of, the different earthquakes going on in the world myself. But I was getting a download from the Galactic saying, tell folk. Now, maybe 10 people listen to that video. It's okay. But the thing is that I'm trying to warn folk. There are things on this earth happening. Be aware if you're in areas, it's the end of the world as we know it. Mother Earth is changing. She's expanding. Things are moving. And we all just got to hang on until this ride's over. Now, some folk are going to get killed. Sorry about that. But they've been warned, move inland, stay away from water, get away from a volcano, we're warning you, move away from these areas, especially if you can. And there are migrations of people moving and things and that. But it doesn't mean it's the end of the world, but it is the end of this era. We're in the last days of the Bible. If you believe at all in the Bible, we are in the last pages of Revelations. We're there with the Pope, the church, all the things going on in the world, all the different things. The one of the secrets of Fatima that was supposed to be changed or altered or whatever, but it had to do with Russia. Russia has changed its ways. So many prophecies have come true down to the letter. We are in these last days of the crap. What we're looking into next, the positive thing is, which I'm trying to speak about, is we are going into the golden age. But there are restrictions, If you think harming any other thing is in your, in your book of stuff, you're not going to be able to go. You're going to have to go back to kindergarten. You're going to have to learn these basic things over again to respect an ant. And I hate mosquitoes, but I've gotten to the point where I have to flick them off instead of kill them. I mean, it's horrible. But it's that we can harm no other being. We have to get to that understanding. And when we do, it's going to open us up so much spiritually. And but in order for us to make it, to go into this golden age, we've got to change our point of view. We have to move into a new reality of thinking. The old paradigm ain't working. You know, a brain surgeon makes $1 million a year. You know, the guy that does the plumbing and the janitor, he's living on 20 grand a year. You know, wait a minute. They say, oh, the United States, equal opportunity. Well, no, that's not equal. You know, all men are created equal. No, we're not. You know, we have went so far off the wrong way with we are all equal. And we need, as a species, to understand you may be a brain surgeon and I may be the janitor, but I am the best damn janitor and you be the best damn brain surgery. And it's telepathy is going to be part of that key. I agree with you, Max. Absolutely. And the more those of us get in tune with each other, it's like, you know, you're kind of already in tune with me. I don't know you. We've never met. You know, you know, we chit back. Okay, fine. But in the quantum world, we've already connected. We're already there. We're listening to some of the same vibrations, or empathy, if you will. Actually, it's both, because with empathy you can have the telepathy, and with telepathy you can show empathy. So they work hand in hand, in my opinion. But so as people wake up to these things, as we, you, me, and other people, I mean, you know, Rainbow Phoenix and other people that I've met through this channel and through, you know, Brian with Milky Way Weekly and so forth. Um, exactly. And as we all get together in these small chat rooms, I've realized the other day, and I think I mentioned it in the video, I think I'm going to do a straight video on it. But it's like you say, Max, if we all heard each other's thoughts, we would want the world to be a good place. Well, those of us who are meeting with me, with you, with Brian, with, you know, Rex Bear, you know, Leak Project, as we are meeting each other, we are staying more synchronized and we are understanding we have more in common and we don't argue about the small stuff. You know, it's like we all want peace, we all want compassion, we all want love, you know. And the more we connect and stay connected, the synchronicity is growing. And so what I said in a video the other day, somebody said something about and I think it was in the chat, and they said, you know, I'm one of the 144,000 light workers. And I thought about it and I said, you're absolutely right. But now, 5 years ago, when I joined the 144,000, they kept saying, we need 144,000. And now that I look back on it, they lied to us. But they lied in a good way, because everybody wanted to be a part of the 144,000. What they needed, what we as a planet needed in reality, because there's 7.5 billion beings on this planet, at least that we know about, we needed 144 million people to wake up and to get synchronized and to wake up to certain cosmic realities. But if they had told us 5 years ago, 2 years ago, we need 144 million people, I would have been one of the first people going, you're crazy. We ain't going there. But when you said 144,000, I said, you know what? That's achievable. I could be one of the 144,000. I consider myself one of the 144,000, except I think in reality that 144 is now 144 million. I think we have reached a particular threshold. And right, yes, the big issues, and forget the tiny details. And the thing is that I explain the details as much as I can from all my years of experience to try to see if any of it makes sense to you. You know, you might find it a little different to use this, But there are some folk out there, like I was talking about the guy I listened to on Jimmy Church Radio on Wednesday night, and he was speaking about astral projection and things, and he was dead on the money of all the things that I've learned, studied, know. He was on it, and I've never heard anyone else speak as closely as what I have learned. I mean, to the point of telling people that don't go out there and jump on the ayahuasca bandwagon to try to reach, it's like, oh my goodness. Well, you know what, Max? I agree with that. But one thing that my spirit beings had to literally beat me over the head with is there are some folks that are just going to get left behind because they're so god dog pig headed. They are, no matter what we show them or how we speak to them, our tone of voice, our mannerism, how kind we are, they ain't going to want to go. And that's just going to be, sorry. And me, other people have had the same thing because I was worried about I still am, don't get me wrong. And I've said in previous videos, we have to understand that everybody's on this road, but some of us may be further down the road, not closer towards anything, but we have been on this road longer. We've learned certain things. Maybe we've been in the ditches a few times, but the point is that there are some folks, they just got stuck in the mud. They never made it spiritually or whatever any further than a particular point. And I look back and I think, well, wait a minute. A couple of years ago, me and this person were like right on together. They never left that spot. And I just kept going. And I'm not better than them. It's just when I think back and I go, well, wait a minute. We don't think eye to eye now. You're still stuck wherever that is back there. Whatever it is that you haven't been able to comprehend, I look back and you're still struggling. Now, I don't discount these people. I don't want to leave them behind. But at the same point, if they ask me, that's what I've been told. They have to ask me. I'm stuck. I have extended my hand in the past. I still do to some folks, and they reject it. They won't take my hand. They won't, I'm trying to give them a life preserver. Nah, don't want it, and I see they're stuck. And I try to be as kind as possible, and they cuss me out. And so my spirits have said, you can't worry about them folk. You got to still love them. You got to still respect them, which I do. I mean, all of these things, they're not hard for me to do. But you can't worry about them anymore. You offered, you tried, you did the best you could. It was up to them to accept or reject your help. If they've rejected my help, they have chosen their own path. I'm still here. I will still reach my hand, and I say backwards because I just feel like they got stuck. I don't necessarily feel like I'm closer to the spirit per se. It's complicated, but I just know that they are stuck back there. I'll even turn around and go back and help them come forward. But I'm not going to worry about them any longer if they continue to refuse. So what a lot of us are coming to grips with now, there are some folks who are going to get left behind. They're going to have to go back to kindergarten because they're just so bullheaded. Whatever their soul contract was, some of these narcissistic folk are like, are you ever going to stop being a butthole? Do you even know that you are a butthole to everybody? Are you going to get this? So it's like, I still pray for these folks, but I can't worry about them any longer. I worry about folks who are asking questions now, who are saying, but I'm stumbling now. That's the person I say, that person needs my help. The one that's stuck, call out for help, send me an email, whatever it is. But at the same point, I can't stop and dance around you to try to get you to move or to understand something else or to explain it. I've already tried. I love you. Best wishes. I'm still here. but I'm going to focus on people who are seeking right now and who don't have anything. This awakening has happened before, but it died out or was killed. This time I think we can awaken all. It's a percentage. I mean, even the galactics discuss it. It's a percentage. And some folks are just going to have to stay back a grade. That's just all there is to it. Some folks are going to get it quicker than others. And the whole thing is we have free will. So it's up to each individual soul to decide. So if they decide to refuse, that's their decision. So we have to respect them. We have to love them. It's crazy. I mean, this was a really hard thing that I had to overcome myself, because I found myself literally in tears, crying for the people that are like, in so many words, they're hopeless, because there are so many things they even refuse to think about thinking about it. I mean, it's just like, well, I think they will come along a little later. I am no fool wasting my time, so stop worrying about me. I am no fool wasting my time, so stop worrying about me. Yeah, I think I got it. Yeah, so it's not a worry thing. It's that if somebody, I mean, we're having a discussion. So you and I are having this discussion. So it's more important to work with you right now in having this conversation than it is to worry about somebody, who refuses to have a discussion with me. You understand what I mean? So it's like, that's what's important, that we continue to have a positive conversation, and that, okay, my words are differently, but that's why I'm here. I'm using different words, and I might talk on a particular subject today and talk about the same subject tomorrow and use a totally different terminology. It might come to me in a dream or something that, hey, explain this in a different way. Somebody might get it if you explain it in a different way. I get it. I understand it. That's my job. That's why I'm here. I'm here as a communicator to help other people, not necessarily agree with me, but to find the meaning in themselves, because you've got to find your own understanding. But the basic rule's going to apply. It has to do with frequency. You can't get away from that one. It has to do with love. You can't get away from that one. There's certain things we can't run from, material things. I'm sorry. I know a doctor friend of mine, okay? And he is one of the kindest souls, and he's got plenty of money. And I've seen him give it away in different ways and shapes and forms. And yeah, he's still got a lot of money. He's still got a really nice house. But what, he should sell it? He doesn't live in a 3-story mansion, but he lives in a comfortable house. He's got a pool. Yeah, okay, a lot of people have pools, but so he doesn't live extravagantly. And I've seen him help out, quote, common folk many times, homeless people, 20, 50 bucks, $100, right out of his wallet. Here you go. Have a nice day, and leave it, but he is one of very few people. And I love this man to death. And I won't speak his name because I haven't asked him, but to the point, though, he's a wonderful man. I've known him for many years. And so he, in my opinion, is, yeah, he has more money, and yes, he worked and all that. And so, but he still is kind in his heart and he knows he has more than he needs, so he shares it. Does he share enough? Well, I'm not going there. The fact that he does share, and he does it from his heart rather than out of guilt or whatever, or being goaded, he does it with positive, loving intent from his heart. And that man, okay, he is my equal. And he, regardless of how much money I make, he always speaks to me and gives me a hug. He's a doctor. He performs surgery. He saves people's lives almost on a daily basis. I'm just an old hippie. He saves people. Well, okay, my job is to save people, to help them find their own spiritualness, to find their own self, to find their own God within themselves. So it's like, okay, but is my job, are we equal? Or is he higher? Or am I higher? Are we higher, lower? No, between he and I, we are equal beings. We're just different in what we do, but we look at each other as equal beings, regardless of the money that we've made or our station or whatever. I have very few things I consider truth. There are so many possibilities. Yes, but the thing that keeps getting piped into my head on a really serious basis is, but I have comfort that way. Yes, all of these truths, though, have a common kind of sort of tree to them. The love, and the cosmic rule: do no harm to any being. If it's a being, it's alive. If it's an orb that crosses in front of the screen, it's a being, it's alive, it moved on its own, it crossed in front of the camera with thought, with intent. We must respect these things. Many people would just reject that they exist. So if you can't accept that they exist, then how can you respect them? So it goes down to a basic things. All things are possible. Yes, we are all teachers. I've learned a lot of things from a lot of. I listen. I mean, that's how I learned what I learned from the old guys. Most of these folks are dead now, but I hung around with old people in the old days, professors and folks, and thinkers, teachers, professors from colleges, and I was their landscape gardener and so forth, and their maintenance men around their houses when they were my age, at 66 and older, and I knew these people, 20 years into their retirement. We would sit and drink scotch on the front porch in the summertime, and discuss war things or whatever, So I learned from some of the greatest teachers. I mean, I learned after this gentleman died, we used to talk about the war. Come to find out, he was a hero during World War II, during the Battle of the Bulge. And he never spoke it, but he was a hero. He was a decorated hero. Got the Congressional Medal of Honor and the Gold Star, Silver Star. He got the deal, and he never spoke of it. He was such a humble man. And I was so glad that and after the fact, and I said, what? So when I was talking about the war and things and reading books about different things, he was there. So when we were having our conversations, he said, well, I know a few things about this. He didn't tell me he was a hero and he saved all these soldiers. And during one of the worst times of World War II, oh my God. So it's like, and I've had the opportunity to know these people, and they have enriched my life with their stories, with their experience, how they made it through these things. It's rights to sovereignty. Yes, as a sovereign being of the universe, our IP address as a soul being, that's our sovereignty. But see, we're on this prison planet with all this goofiness, and we can't get back to where we used to be in other realms and other things. So we've had this nasty karmic, I'll spit it out, karmic invasion, and we keep getting bounced back. We can't get out of here. That's why there are so many souls on this planet now. We can't get out. We have to get recycled. Anyway, but that's a discussion if you wish to go into what an ISBE is. And that's the true spiritual nature of our star brothers and sisters. I studied many teachings, took what I found useful, and took it. Yep. There are still things within, I guess you could say, within the Catholic Church. I wanted to become a priest. I was an altar boy and all these funky things. But in that religion, I found spirituality. Now, I don't practice anything of the Catholics anymore, but there were things that I learned in Catholicism. I've studied Buddhism. I've studied Hinduism. And I mean, I've got all 3 books of the Bhagavad Gita. I've got books on I Ching and Confucius. And I've learned a lot from the old Chinese masters. And there's a lot of wisdom in there, but there's a lot of wisdom in Buddha. There's a lot of wisdom in some of the Bhagavad Gita. I mean, a blue guy with four arms. Well, I had an orb go by the camera. Maybe anything's possible. But to the point, though, is like, well, all right. Um, hmm. Is this within my actually, you think heaven on earth is possible? Not on this earth, is what I believe now, Max. I believe this is hell. It became the hell planet. Not, it didn't start out that way. It started out as a paradise and got converted to the nasty side. But the mega ritual of the planet, and a lot of other people's opinion too, not just in my humble opinion, but I'm speaking in a general term of a bunch of us big time conspiracy theorists, of the mega ritual upon the planet itself because of these, sure enough, higher beings than just the cabal. You wouldn't be a minister of the United Church. Yeah, there you go. See, but now we have a different calling, right, Max? We're still speaking spiritual. I'm not a Bible thumper, but I use the Bible many times because there are still passages. I mean, what Jesus said, talked, and preached is very much relevant, in my opinion. I do absolutely, positively agree that the Christ consciousness on this planet is most definitely alive and well. Is Jesus himself the entity on this planet? If he walked, maybe if he walked up to me, I would say, I believe, but any person who walked up to any place, anywhere in this day and age and said, I'm Jesus, nobody's going to believe him. But now is the Christ consciousness and the divine part of that spirituality of the Bible with us today? I absolutely, hands down. And it has nothing to do with the church. I'm seeing more people being spiritual than religious because religion's lied to us. And the more people who are understanding, as I keep discussing, you don't have to be religious to be spiritual. Spiritualism comes naturally if you allow it. It's already there. We're already connected. But the churches and the teachings and the societal things actually block us from the true source. It keeps us disconnected because we have to preach and all that, we have to listen to the prayers. We got to do all these other things. We have to pray through someone. That's okay. We can agree on what change and raising spirits. Exactly. I mean, how we do it. But it's like I tell people, look, if you find that the only way you can be spiritual is by being continue to be religious, fine, as long as you're spiritual. Are you going to church because you feel guilty? Wrong reason. If you're going to church to pray, for the fellowship, to share, to be spiritual, to speak to Creator, go to church. But if you're him-hawing around and all this other thing, you think Christ is an inside job too? But see, I believe in the Christ consciousness because it's a Buddha thing. It's a Hindu thing. It's a Chinese thing. It's old stuff. So maybe he was made up, but the Christ consciousness part, I do believe absolutely exists. So whether there really was a person, and there's a lot of fishy stuff to whether or not he did. Now, in my particular belief system, I'm going to assume he did because I think of him as a prophet. And okay, fine. So I can look through it and say, if nothing else, he's a damn good example. And other people, it's like, okay, can you be Christ-like? Well, I wish I have fed a bunch of people with next to little or nothing. I've put goulash stews together and fed hungry folk. I've opened up my home to strangers. They've ripped me off, but they were homeless, needed a place to stay. I opened up my home. I have given my clothes and my cloak and all this. I have saved people. A man had his leg chopped off in the middle of the country on a lonely country road, and we saved his life that night. I had to hold a bloody stump to, so we could wrap it. I mean, I have been so many different places in this world and other realms and things and seen so many things. I get it. But the Christ consciousness is something that, okay, if you can't grab your head around a Buddha, and Buddha didn't ask to have a statue made of him, and neither did Christ or Mary or any of these other people, but the entity, the idea, the thought process of being a good person, of sharing, of we are all equal. That's what the galactics are saying right now. That has to do with our frequency. It's all about our frequency. And if we will do harm to any other being, that's going to lower our frequency, regardless of religion. Yeah, religion. Catholic religion stops spirituality. They focus on the death and not the risen. And I've been to a bunch of different Protestant churches, Episcopal. I have a good friend of mine who became an Episcopal priest at the age of 72 because she had a calling late in life. Mine took a different turn, and I turned to YouTube and talk about these things. But we're all speak. It's amazing how many people, you, me, my other friends, who have turned to the spiritual side of things. I mean, to the point where they literally joined a religion and became a pastor or a priest. Oh my God. And actually, I would rather go listen to them preach because they're preaching Jesus, not the Old Testament, not all. They're teaching current things. We should help each other. We should be more like Christ. So these older folk with all this experience who have gone into, quote, the religious area or the spiritual area late in life, I guess much like me, I never expected to be on YouTube. I just never did. I was just going to meditate quietly for everybody, and that was going to be that. But my mission is I like to do it, but I must do it as well because it's important to have the conversation. So it's like, all right, so let's have the conversation. But we're all basically, regardless of however we chalk this around, Christ consciousness and the Christos oil from the pineal gland, I think, is the anointing oil, and we have it. We have so much. And even if it was a lie and they made Christ up in the Bible, there are so many things that are in what they wrote down that are very true, having to do with like walking on water and I mean, just other things. The mustard seed. Where do you put your candle? On top of the bushel basket or under it? I mean, okay, it's a parable, but it makes so much sense. And if you read the Older Testament, if and when Jesus come back, he was going to bring enlightenment. In the King James Version, it says he's going to bring a light. So they've changed the words over the years, especially since 1964 and 1984, by the way. I've done Bible videos about this. But to the point, though, I went back through the words and I went back through the study because I was raised a Catholic with a Bible. And we had religion class every day, almost through high school, So, yeah, it was shoved down our throat. But at the same time, I found solace and spirituality in reading the Gospels, the epistles, and about Jesus. Not about the Old Testament. I found nothing in that mess because I wanted to hear what Jesus had to say. I wanted to hear first person, but there's a lot of discrepancy about the apostles speak about what Jesus said, their rendition of what he said. All right. Did they actually hear it, say it? All right. Doesn't matter. If it was fabricated, my point is that in a spirituality realm, exactly. I'm so spiritual now, it hurts. But the religious part, forget it, And I use words like a mantra, but a mantra is, and there is good things in repetition. The number 3, the number 6, the number 9. These are cosmic numbers. It's numbers that Tesla understood. There are things in numbers and repeating them 3 times that is very, 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 very powerful. And if you really want to get your point across, now it's like I will say a prayer. And at the end, I say this prayer. It's for this, 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 and this. And with my intention, I repeat this 3 times. I wish all the things I've just said, and I will like say the last line, and I will repeat the last line 3 times to like sum up what my total prayer was. There is a lot of history in the number 369 that is way beyond comprehension, but it's important. It's being used against us in the mega ritual. So why not use it with our positive intent? If we don't exist, well then say something positive 3 times. So then you're it's going into the past, it's going into the present, and it's going into the future. Yeah, Jeff Tottery. I've listened to him many times. Him and also Mr. R. Wayne Steiger. And so it's like, so I'm very much in agreement with a lot of what they say. Now, to the two of them, they have a tendency to believe that Christ didn't even exist. I'm going to go with a maybe. Now, my faith says that there were prophets like him. And whether or not they actually existed, like I just explained, there is a thought pattern in there that is Buddhist like, that is, pick the Chinese old religion type of Confucius thingy. There is a lot in there that really does make sense in a spiritual point of view rather than religious. So wiping religion out of it, there are some really good things in there. So, but yeah, I agree with most of what they say. And because I was doing my own study when I ran across Jeff and R. Wayne. So I was already into the thing because being raised a Catholic, I had a Catholic Bible. So I was quoting phrases out of my Bible, and people with the King James Version was going, "What kind of Bible you reading, boy?" And I'm going, "Well, this Bible." I didn't realize that the King James Version, they had changed a lot of shit. I mean, they took out Psalms. They reworded stuff. I mean, it's unbelievable. So it's like King James changed the Bible for himself because as king of 2 nations, he considered himself God on earth, which is the Antichrist. Anti being the removed from, the one down here. Like the Pope is the Antichrist. He is, by definition, the Antichrist as Pope because he is the representative of Christ or God on the earth. That's the definition. People think it means against Christ. Wrong. It is the representative of Christ. You got to get the meanings right, do your homework on that one, right? But to the point, though, it's like, so whether he existed or not, I'm going to believe that there was someone who did and that the entity, etc. Much like Buddha or, whatever. So I look at the teaching rather than the person. I look at the message rather than the ceremony, if you will. Okay. You got to ring these bells and walk around the temple 9 times. Okay, fine. Well, if I had a temple and if I did, maybe I would do that and it would be fun. But at the same time, I can do something in a number 3. I can do something with a bell, and I can do it in a way I can modify what you think, what is, quote, necessary, and achieve a very similar thing. I've achieved, in my way of thinking, a hell of a lot of enlightenment. I understand a lot of things people just refuse to get. Doesn't make me better. I'm still me. I'm still just a common person. But at the same time, it's what I want to do. To other people, it's not what they choose. They choose to play with the phone and do other things. They're not into looking into spiritual other realms, looking into other realities, whether or not orbs really do exist and will show up on your video. I mean, they don't even want to go there. So it's like, as much as I would like to show someone, there are a lot of people that I know is like, let me show you this video of mine, man. Look what happened on my video. They go, let's just talk about you made it up. They wouldn't even give me the time of day. It's okay. I get it. I understand. It's woo-woo. It's out there. And you got to really have a different way of thinking in order to get to some of these things on a quantum basis. You base your spirituality on the teaching in the Bible because it's what I know, along with many other teachings I have come across. I hope the Christ existed too, but I can't prove it. Exactly. And but the thing is there are so many things like, for example, I have studied things like, some of the shamans of the old time and the Buddhist monks, being able to levitate, being able to walk across water and certain things like that. And there have been times when I used my energy in the woods and I was crossing mud or water and I had to think light on my feet. And I know damn well and good that I should have sank deeper into the mud or further into the water, and I didn't. I mean, I only the bottom of my shoes got wet where it should have been up to the ankle because I went into it with thinking lightly. I am light as a feather. I'm going to skip across the top of this. And it's like other people go like, yeah, okay. Well, can I prove it? Well, yeah, I didn't get my shoes muddy. Okay, I have these little tiny proof things that happen in my life all the time. But I try to show them to other people, look, these things are viable. Jesus, if you believe he was the Christ, smudging is a ceremony. Absolutely. It's not into the heebie-jeebie hokey pokey, but it is a ceremony. And it is to clean the spirit. It is to bring in good energy. Part of the ceremony. Yeah. But see, you get it. Smudging is something you can say, oh, this is my personal ceremony. It ain't some gobbledygook. I'm not using rhymes from a book. Exactly. That's my point exactly. Smudging is that part of ceremony. And you see, to many people who don't understand Native Americans, for example, when I started learning about my Native American history and I learned these other things, this comes natural to them where we have to like think about it. They're born this way. Smudging is natural and they understand the cleansing and they're already there, They understand what they call a ceremony. White people call them being savages. Oh, them Native Americans, them damn savages, and it's like, hang on. These folks have got you folks beat in spirituality. Say what you will. Every powwow I've ever been to, they always say a Christian prayer, and then they say the prayer to their creator. Because they understand the Christian God was created by, guess who? Creator. So the Native Americans recognize the Christian God, but they also understand that source or creator made the Christian God. It's really interesting. But they say prayers for both. They respect both. In the Christian society, you think for a moment in a Baptist church they would say both prayers? Ah, but Native Americans do it. They do it with respect. They do it with honor. They do it with integrity. Oh, really? You heard of smudging because you heard my show with Rainbow? Absolutely. Now, I don't know where you are in the world. Down here in South Georgia, it's hard to get white sage. But, as a cheat, I get sage in the big containers and this is it's ground sage. But, when you can't get the other kind of sage out west that is so readily available, you won't see me doing Hail Marys or anything like that. Well, I have a special thing for Mother Mary. So there are times when I do say Hail Marys. But I understand what my intent is and where my background is. So, but I understand other people not saying that prayer. I have a particular connection with Mother Mary. So with that, that's one of the very few prayers I will say. I won't say Our Father who art in heaven. Ain't going there. But I will say a Hail Mary because of my connection with Mother Mary over all these 50 odd years. 55 years I've had a connection with Mother Mary. So, but that's the only prayer I'll say. And I say it with a different intent. And I leave a couple of words out too, by the way. So it's my version of my Hail Mary. It's kind of odd. But I do so. I'm a Native American. I am in awe of Native American spiritual culture, the Great Spirit. And Great Spirit is source. They're one and the same. But God is not Great Spirit. God is a construct. God is from religions. Great Spirit is above all things. Creator is the source of all things. God isn't. That's how spiritual these folks are. But they respect them both. But Creator is above God. And I found that absolutely astonishing, astounding, wherever you want to go with this. Because I was like, oh, holy crap. Well, what about God? Yeah, he's okay. But Creator, now he's the dude. And I'm sitting with my medicine man and I'm on my shamanic journey. And I'm like, teach me. So when they said this, I'm like, I'm looking at him. You have some white and brown sage. Wonderful. The white sage, in some cultures, forms, tribes, you wouldn't burn anything but white sage. However, like I say, this other sage, it's brown, but yeah, okay. It's sage. That's the important part. That's the key. And it's my intent. I can't get white sage. When I have it, I burn it. But in the meantime, Spirit knows my connection, and the smudging works just as well. It smells a little different, but similar. So here we go. But so when I sat down with these sages and these medicine men, and I'm like, explain it to me. Well, Creator. Yeah, Creator of all things. And when they say all, they're meaning ants, they're meaning the bugs, they're meaning things they can't see. They even include the dark things that they refuse to speak about, like what would we might call the jinn or things like that. And but the fact that they put Creator, their faith in Creator is like, kill them, go ahead. They know, they get it. It's a good day to die. But God, on the other hand, God is an idol. God is in the church. God is Christian. And Christian God was created by source, by Creator. It took me a little while to sit and think that one. I mean, like 9 months kind of thing, just pondering over it. Well, wait a minute, aren't they the same? And then one day in one of my meditations, I was just like, hang on. Exactly. All gods seem to be manipulators and not creators. And this is my one thing. And he was like 85-year-old Native American medicine man from the Lakota tribe out there from South Dakota on the reservation out there, where Wounded Knee was in a different area. But anyway, Pine Ridge is where I'm talking about. And so it's like, wait, Pine Ridge is on Wounded Knee. Anyway, so we're sitting there talking, and he said, we all understand that Creator is always there. We are born with it. We live with it. We die with it. And any day that we can go back to Creator is a good day to die. Now, do we wish to die? No. But we understand that we are part of Creator and that our spirits, because Native Americans talk about spirit all the time. Oh my gosh. It's like every other word's something having to do with the spirit of the great. Okay, wonderful. But their great spirit is greater than God because it was always there and it included all things, seen, unseen. And so where in churches, Native Americans go to a powwow. Where is it? It's outside. It's on the ground. People gather around, they share food and stories and music and dancing and love and honor and compassion for one another. You go to a Christian church, you walk in, you sit in a pew, you got everybody's quiet, the preacher preaches, you sing a couple of songs, and y'all go home. There's nothing spiritual about that. You go hang out with a tribe that's having a powwow for a weekend, they'll dance till dawn. I mean, you get some of them folks with, the shake dance. Oh my gosh, they will literally dance for hours without stopping. I mean, 20, 30, 40 people in this line, and they're all dancing this tug dance, and they hold each other up. It's unbelievable what happens. I mean, I was involved in it, and I got a bad leg, couldn't hold out, and they allowed me to like drop out, but it was like I held out for a couple of hours, and during that time, it's unexplainable what went on with that dance. Just the chanting is just like it's very simple, but there is a rhythm and the music and the dance and the drum and the fact that everybody is doing it in unison and together. It's magical. Is it savage? No, but it's not Christian. I have literally gotten so high I thought I was on mescaline or something, simply by being in a powwow dance. Nothing external, no weird kind of nothing, but so connected spiritually with Source, with Creator, with Mother Earth, that I literally wept with joy from the gladness, from the feeling of this. I try to show our connectedness by teaching remote viewing. Max, that's absolutely wonderful. And maybe sometime we can have a chat about it. I can't believe it. I've been on here 2 hours and 22 minutes already. And it's like, I was going to keep this short. I can never keep it short, but it's been absolutely wonderful talking to you. I thought maybe I would have a visitor this morning, but nobody showed up yet that I've noticed on the screen anyway. But I gotta pee. I gotta go get something to drink. I'm out of drink, and I want to smoke a cigarette and not talk and drop ashes on the floor. But anyway, and it's been 2 hours, 2.5 hours that I've been at this. So, but with that said, though, it has been a wonderful chat. And if you would love to do a hangout thing, live feed sometime, absolutely love it. And talk about what we're talking about right now. Allow you to speak what you see and understand and feel. So, and I'm glad that by listening to me and Rainbow Phoenix that you started with the smudging, and I didn't realize that it had anything to do with me. But okay, but yes, smudging is a great thing, and it there are other things in the Native American tradition too. It's like in the great flood and the great things that happened over the years, one of the things that became sacred were evergreen trees, spruce trees, pine trees, any evergreen tree, and sage it came into that category. But as a sacred smudge yourself with, you could take some pine needles if you don't have sage, and pine needles and smudge yourself with, because in the tradition of the Native American and what the pine and the spruce and these other evergreen type trees are, they stayed green when the world turned black, when all the other trees died, when all the other leaves left, the evergreens. So they're special by Creator. You're on Rainbow's show at Sunday at 5. Wonderful. I'll try to be there. I will. I'll do my best to hang out with y'all, because I really do like to hang out with you all in the chats and listen. And it's not just my point of view, trust me, but it's my point of view as far as trying to help other people to understand it. So Anyway, there are other sacred trees, and I'll wrap it up with that. So, Max, break a leg with Sunday at 5. If I miss you, I'd love having this chat with you. I send my love and honor to you, blessings to you and all that you do, and blessings for our message that more people will listen and understand and be able and that we may keep this connection that we've already achieved. Allow it to happen with the synchronicity on this global galactic plane, and that we all keep it together, brother. So much love, prayers, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, Max. Catch you later, man. I'm gonna bust a kidney if I don't go pee.